What is going on, everybody? Welcome to episode 62 of Hobby Hotline Live, the only live call-in show in the hobby. And thanks, everybody, for joining us today. What's up, Rich? And as always, my name is Drew, and joining me today, we've got, he added part of his name, your Texas Card Dude. What's up, man?
What is up? I thought I'd go something a little different and crazy today and be your Texas Card Dude. Because it's not about me, it's about everybody else.
All fancy and stuff. And then, of course, also joining us, we do have Deafness himself. What's up, Jeff?
What's going on, man? How you guys doing?
Doing good. Doing good. Hope everybody's having a good day today. It's a nice Saturday. What's up, Logan?
What's up, Mitch? What's up, Logan? Good morning.
It's nice outside here, so that's nice. Sun's on spring break, so we'll dive right into some hobby stuff, guys. I guess we'll kick off today's show with the news that broke earlier this week that had a lot of people talking, and that, of course, was Topps making the rounds, going public yet again. Interesting. I can't say I didn't expect it, but when you kind of saw this, what did you guys think with Topps deciding to take their company public yet again?
My first reaction was great call, Brian Gray.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
because he called it a couple months ago. He said a huge company was going to go public on this show right here.
Yeah.
He said that, and I was like, "There's no who's he talking?" I thought he was talking about somebody else, but not Topps. Like, there's no way. And then all of a sudden that news broke and I just went right again. So well played, Brian Gray.
Yes.
Well played.
Yeah. What about you, Jeff? Did you guys buy any of the stock, or at least MUDs, I guess is the name for right now?
Haven't dove into any stock. I'm not sure. I mean, I don't know, man. I mean, if things continue to go where they go, but you got to do it at the right time. So I think if you're going to do it, you do it now, right? Or soon, if you're going to, if it's going to make a big impact, if you're trying to make some money off it. So, but as of right now, no.
I want to get a share of stock just so I could put it like right here. I want the paper just so I'd use it and take it and blow it up and put it on the wall.
Certificate.
Well, it was an interesting valuation that they had. I mean, they had record profits last year, obviously. They're probably going to shatter those through the roof this year, you would assume. But over $1 billion valuation, I think it was 520 something million last year, along those lines. I mean, do you think this is a good thing for Topps? Because let's face it, they've done this before, and then they went back private. Watching some ex-employees and things like that on Twitter, you kind of see it as a little interesting. I find it odd that none of their ex-employees that I've seen have thought this was a good idea, with things that they're going to have to release,
right?
Stuff like that. I mean, do you see this as something that's going to help the hobby? I mean, when I saw it, I was like, this is awesome. I mean, CNBC had it. Like all of these, anytime you can get major networks diving in and talking about this stuff, it's obviously good for attention and things like that. But
exactly, more people talking, more people bringing it up, the more we're gonna get more people hopefully getting interested and getting into the hobby, right? That's what we're constantly trying to do, is bring in more people. So the more it's being brought up, the more it's being advertised, the more it's being aired, the better. So yeah, and I think obviously as everything moving into the digital and NFT thing, and them trying to do some increase with all that. I mean, yeah, like you said, you see it, you thought it was awesome when you first saw it. And I think people in the hobby should be excited and should think it's awesome. So
yeah, well, that was one of my biggest takeaways from that whole press release, was seeing you'd never heard anything about Topps. I mean, obviously Panini has their quote unquote blockchain going on, the fake blockchain that's not a blockchain. Right. And then you've got Topps saying that they're going to dive into NFTs. That was kind of thrown into that press release, but that's a pretty big step for Topps. And it looks like, from everything I've read, they're going to be doing some actual regular NFTs, which I don't know, could be interesting. It seems to be the way everybody's going to right now. So Tom Brady came out with a NFT platform, or has announced he's going to be doing, I think, like athlete.io or something along those lines.
Autographs.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. So what was really interesting, and step back on the Topps thing.
Yeah.
You know, I watched the interview with Eisner on Yahoo's finance. I really wanted to see what was, you know, his opinion. One of he made like 3 really big statements. Number one, he said he was not going to sell any stock whatsoever.
Right.
So that was big, at least for me. Number 2 was he kept saying NFT, and going digital. And Topps just released their Godzilla NFT as I guess a test this week or last week, and it blew up. It sold out very, very quickly. So then his then he went through the numbers and what the 92 million in profit in 2020. They have double digit in the teens EBITDA over the past 3 years. Now, you know, there are people here that don't know what EBITDA is, but think about it as a growth rate.
Right.
And double-digit growth rate year over year, and that's profitable growth rate, is an insane number, especially in our hobby. So, or industry or whatever. It's now, I mean, you might as well just call it an industry.
Yeah.
But it's insane right now. And he kept the fourth thing, and I just remembered, he kept saying mergers and acquisitions. And he hammered that at least 3 times. So for me, digital and mergers and acquisitions, and him not selling a stock, which means he expects it to grow. And he also compared Topps to where Disney was when he joined. And if you can remember, the Pixar and the Disney, yes, they had some growth pains, but that growth rate between then and now has been incredible. If you take that and add it to Topps with all of their properties, all of their licensing, you know, the sports, the entertainment, and just pour gasoline on it, I'm hopeful. I'm very hopeful, but I'm hoping it's done cautiously, because it could go south really quick. But I'm happy for it.
I agree with you. I think it's awesome. I mean, let's face it, Topps it's a household name. It's synonymous with the hobby. You're talking about almost like 70 some years now of Topps being like this massive thing. So, I mean, it's awesome to see them get bigger and going public. And SCA Sports Card says maybe this will get them licensing in the other sports. I kind of want to touch on that for a minute, because about, I guess it was almost 2 years now, Jesus, had the director of player personnel for the MLBPA on the show, and was talking to him about those licenses. And I was asking him, you know, will we ever get back to somewhere where we have multiple licenses in sports? And I was asking specifically about baseball, but he kind of expanded to everything, saying that from all the leagues he talks to, everywhere he talks to, the leagues like the exclusives. The only people that don't like the exclusives are collectors and the Players Association, because obviously they can get some extra licenses out there going through Panini and things like that. But I don't really think you're going to see massive licensing come out in any sport. If anything, I would like to see Topps get into, just like they kind of are doing with Trevor Lawrence this year, unlicensed stuff. Right. I mean, let's face it, the last 2 or 3 years of Bowman football, if people can remember that far back, they didn't have logos.
Right.
I mean, they could have used them, but they didn't. They put them out as generic cards, and some of the vets had logos, but none of the rookies ever did, because it was an early year thing. I would like to see them go full steam ahead. You saw last year with the Topps Chrome basketball pick that Tyler Hero was signing. Apparently, they made a whole set of Topps Chrome and never did anything with it. So, I mean, I'd like to see them get back into unlicensed cards and possibly explore some entertainment avenues. I think now you have to start getting into the entertainment side of things. I think products like Allen and Ginter are going to just explode. You're going to have Mark Wahlberg in there soon. I can see that as being a massive subsection of the hobby that Topps focuses on to try and get a whole lot bigger.
Wahlburger.
Yeah.
Oh yes, let me get a Wahlburger card.
Shout out
please.
Wahlburger.
Let me get a Wahlburger card.
But I think too, on the point of the whole the unlicensed cards, like you brought up the Trevor Lawrence again, and we
Yeah.
discussed this. We actually showed it, I think, on
Mhm.
screen one of the
Yeah.
times, one of the last times we were on or whatever.
Yeah.
As long as they make the card, as long as they make it look good. Now, you brought up the Bowman. If you go back and look at some of those Bowman football cards, though,
Yeah.
like the Taz Bowman football cards,
Yeah.
some of them. But like that Trevor Lawrence and what they've done, like with those, look pretty sweet. I mean, looks cool. So
No, I completely agree. And like Rich said, the leagues, like that's basically what he was telling me on the show. The leagues, for simplicity's sake, only want one license, and that's where I think you're going to see a lot of. I would love to see them dive out in entertainment, expand Allen and Ginter. Why they don't have Allen and Ginter on demand is beyond me. Topps has the best online program, in my opinion, with Topps now. I love Upper Decks, E-Packs, and stuff like that. Panini kind of does some stuff, but Topps has been all in on Topps now for a long time now. And they update it daily. They do everything. They keep branching out into other sports. I think this is going to be a year where you see Topps increase a whole lot of digital, a whole lot of print on demand stuff, because the ROI's got to be astronomical on those compared to a regular release. They're printed in different facilities. They're actually printed nicely, which I can't hammer that home enough. And like I said, I think the entertainment side of things is where I can see Topps really pushing in. Really pushing in with the entertainment side of things. And I think that's where Topps now and their digital side of things could explode. If they start going into entertainment, doing things like, I mean, it sounds odd, but even award show cards and things like that, I think you're going to start to see that sometime soon. And I think you're going to start to see a lot more outside avenues outside of baseball.
Well, I was just thinking while you were talking about that, we know we just had DMX pass. You know, how cool would it be to have had a DMX card that Topps now produced? I mean, for a 40-something guy, I was a huge DMX fan back in the day. Huge, I mean, movie star, entertainment star. I listened to a lot of his music. You know, that's a big deal, DMX passing. So them moving into that. So that would be to me, that would be interesting. So Rich is saying no, but for me, that would be interesting.
Rich is not all in on that.
Well, I mean, it wouldn't be good to do it now. But you could have, if they had been in this space for a while, it would be cool to have those. I think it was 2005 basketball that Topps did. Jay-Z. Jay-Z was in that product. I believe it was 2005. But, you know, I'd love to see, I think you're going to start to see a lot of that, especially as, I mean, we'll talk about the funding later, but you're starting to see all these athletes get into the sports arena. You saw, I don't really want to bring his name up, but you saw Deshaun Watson and some other people getting involved in some companies, not massage parlors, but some companies. And then you had, you've got Trae Young, obviously, in the newest little venture that we'll touch on to a little bit later. And, you know, you're seeing a lot of these guys kind of move into this space. AJ Dillon wants to start breaking. He was denied direct from Panini, which I thought was funny. But they'll pay him to take his autograph, but they're not giving him allocation. So, you know, it's interesting. Yeah,
I mean, the world's really, really got a shocker when Gronk started his NFT. I mean, he was, it was brilliant. I mean, it was brilliant. He was, if I remember right, he was the first one out there. He threw it out there, and then the one-of-one card, he attached an experience to him and I think somebody else on the sideline for a Bucks game. So that you bought the one-of-one, you get this experience with Gronk. And how cool would that be if you were a huge Gronk fan on the sidelines with Bucks? Then you've got Brady, you got all those guys just hanging out and being cool in the locker room, having some sodas afterwards. I mean, that would be, think about that now with Brady moving into autograph. What kind of experiences can you now do with that?
Well, and I think that's going to be the key to getting NFTs to take hold in the hobby is what you've got to provide. And I think people saw that pretty quickly. You have to provide something that people feel like they're getting, because there's a lot of people that look at it. Obviously, I dove right into NFTs. I understand them quite a bit, but there's a lot of people that say, I don't understand it. I don't care. I can't touch it. Whatever the reasoning may be about not wanting to understand it, I think attaching those extras. I saw kind of outside of sports, but I saw WWE, I think for WrestleMania, I think I saw that they put out like an Undertaker NFT. Mm-hmm. And these included like backstage WrestleMania stuff, like all of these. It's a massive package outside of something else that you have. And I think that's where I haven't read too much into Brady's platform yet that he's launching. I don't know how much information's out there, but I think attaching something to it is what's going to make the people that might have some initial pushback, because let's face it, in the hobby, everybody likes to push back. It doesn't matter what it is. So, I mean, you've got to attach something to get that other part of the community to actually want to take a look at it.
Well, if you think about it, they already do Cameo. So if you attach like a 20-minute Zoom call on 1 of 1s or on 5 of 10s or something like that to be able to add to that extra value, woo! I mean, the chance to pull that, that's that's the type of thinking where I'm going in line. So now with the online world, you don't necessarily have to attach physical touch or anything like that. Just the ability to have a 20-minute phone call with somebody or a Zoom call with somebody, that'd be pretty cool in my book. That'd be pretty cool. So that's,
or better yet, on the yacht with them, right? Celebrating after the.
There you go. Word. I'm all in on that.
Yeah.
Go. But I agree. I agree with you guys. I think the experiences, or like you're saying, the add-ons are going to be the thing that really drive it. And I think I think that what you guys are saying is going to drive in some more people that, like you're saying, that are not, I don't really care about it. I don't want to learn about it. I don't, whatever. But the add-ons are what's going to drive the NFTs. And I think.
Yeah. And I think that's really, I mean, I know a lot of people might not like to hear this as they keep, the common thing nowadays is that the hobby keeps changing. Well, yeah, it does. It evolves just like everything else. And I think you're starting to see this now. I think there is, you talk all the time about wanting to get kids, wanting to get the new age, the new generation into the hobby. Well, they're very digital. I mean, they're incredibly digital. So I think you're going to see a lot of digital offerings from Topps come up. I wouldn't be surprised to see them dive headfirst into NFTs. It looks like they already have. They're putting out Godzilla, and it went well. I mean, all they needed was one kind of justification that it's a good idea to jump into this, and it sounds like that was a great one. So
yeah, I mean, think about the movie properties that you could do, and all the, Dr. Beckett had a great podcast on how to start, or his opinion on a kid's set. Mm-hmm. So take that and all of those ideas and then move that into the NFT world or a digital world or something similar to what even Comsi and Panini does, where you've got a digital card, but you can get the physical copy. That's to me, that's a good way to segue from one into the other. So, and then all of those ideas of moving athletes in, moving, experiences, different celebrities so everybody knows LeBron James likes the Cowboys. How cool would it be to have LeBron James onto a Dallas Cowboys card with the hat? I mean, back, I can't remember if it was 2002, 2003 or something like that. He was at training camp, so they had training camp photos of him with the players. So, I mean, something like that's different and innovative and cool. That's what I expect, and I hope over the next 5 years in the hobby, it'll be really cool to see.
And right now, like I think this was brought up earlier, maybe before the show, but Topps is only sitting in the digital world or the digital side of things at like 6%, like of their total So, I mean, where do you guys see them in a year or two in that percentage? Like how far do you think, how fast and how far do you think they push this?
Well, I mean, looking
out?
at tops now, I mean, when you gave me that number, it was before we got on today. When you gave me that number, I was surprised because, I mean, for about a year, I've been preaching for everyone to jump on Tops Now Soccer. It was one of the easiest ways to make money in the entire world. Now print runs are up to about every rookie at least 20K or so. Like they do a solid amount on a lot of these releases, and I would expect it. Shoot, I mean, I'd go as far as 15% or so. I would expect to see that number jump astronomically this year.
Yeah,
I
agree.
You can't grow too fast too quickly.
No,
so something like a 30 or a 40%. That's ridiculous. But
way down
double. But yeah, I could see double. I could see like a 12 to maybe 15 stretching with and I can't harp on this enough with the entertainment properties and stuff that they don't have to worry about MLB and NHL and cross licensing. You can go get the movie licensing as the movie world starts opening up.
And they're going to have a big one coming soon with Space Jam. Space Jam coming out very soon. The previews are out now. You're about to see a massive run on old Space Jam stuff, on new Space Jam stuff. And I mean, you just saw them putting out an NFT with Godzilla. They're inching their way into this. They are moving slowly into this category. And I would expect to see an explosion this year. I think it might take a little bit for it to catch on. And I don't know if that 6% obviously has to do with like sales numbers and stuff, I'm assuming. But I would guess that by the end of this year, you're going to see quite a few NFTs. You're going to see Tops on a ton of different platforms. And I would guess that their online offering is going to be pretty huge. And I would like to see, this goes for just not only Tops, this goes for all the companies. I would like to see right now the companies start to do a lot more direct, to consumer. Now, I know a lot of people might get a little hesitant on that, but as we had a comment earlier in the show from Kevin. What's up, Kevin? And he was talking about how the barrier of entry in the hobby is getting really high right now.
Yeah.
And that's incredibly true. You look at any product that's been released this year or in the last 6 months is incredibly high to where it was a couple of years ago. But a lot of that has to do with the broken distribution method that we've discussed on here quite a bit. I think printing more direct is a way to kind of curtail that a bit, to, like you were talking about with Dr. Beckett, getting a product that's there for kids, getting something that's there. They don't have to mass produce it and put it in every single Walmart and Target and Walgreens and hobby shop in the world. It can be printed and shipped directly to customers. And I would like to see the card companies move a lot more towards that this year, hopefully being able to get some of the big products that we really want, but then also giving people a lower entry level point, a lower end product possibly that people might not be rushing out to try and snatch up all. They won't set all their bots for it, but it's a way that you can get some new people into this industry, because there's a ton of people that do want to jump in right now. I've had people from high school, college, professional life, family members, uncles that all want to do something in this industry now, where before they're like, you deal with cards for a living? What do you do?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I got a direct quote from Eisner that I just remembered while you were saying this. This was his words. We will now participate in the second and third sale in the hobby. So expect them to do just what you asked them to do, Drew.
Wow.
Expect them to jump in, because he said it's on video. They will participate in the second and third sale in this hobby. So that's, to me, that was extremely exciting.
Yeah.
And I can't believe I forgot, because that's bold. Yeah. That's bold. That's planting a flag out there and saying we will be in all aspects of this hobby. So I really, really, really like it.
So what do you think that's going to look like? Like, it's interesting to say that, but how is that going to be implemented into the hobby is what I'm very curious at.
I think that means that they're about to open up their direct. I think they're about to, and you see it now trickling a little bit with their release date. You can get boxes now online on release date. So that's one step that I can see them going into that. I also see where they're talking directly to MJ Holdings, where are they gonna now just start working with MJ Holdings to do releases online? Are you going to? I mean, are they going to jump into the eBay marketplace and get an eBay? Could you imagine them partnering with eBay and doing eBay distribution? I mean, the possibilities. I know, I understand, but the possibilities are endless for what they could do.
No, right.
I mean, yes, I believe 100% that.
Good one, bud. I can see it.
Bro.
That's who's camping out at that Target,
right?
Well, I think Bo is actually at Target right now.
Possibly. What, for next Friday's drop?
Yeah, but you gotta get in there so you can get it. So you can get one. You gotta be there now for next Friday.
Yeah. And Rich said, that's what retail is supposed to be, is the cheaper price point, the entry level, the things like that. And for a long time it was. But you mentioned MJ Holdings, and at least when I talked to Anderson a couple weeks ago, there's some pretty big changes being discussed on that stuff right now because, Walmart has not jumped in and done stuff like Target has, making specific drop dates for cards. But, there's a lot of changes coming in that avenue, and that's interesting. I did not see that quote by him saying that he's going to get into this, all aspects of the card market. But if I'm Topps, I'd be careful with that. Yeah. You've got to really go at that slowly and strategically, because there's no better way to push off a lot of people than to partner with eBay, than to do something like you just said. I think that is a very dangerous game that they want to play. Next, it's going to be setting up their own marketplace to resell Topps cards. And who knows, that may be where they're headed. Mm-hmm. You could end up seeing them partner with secondary markets and have some type of an agreement. And who knows, in 2 years, we may all say, you go here for Topps, you go here for Panini. I don't know how it's going to work, but that's interesting. That's probably, to me, outside of NFTs, that's the most shocking statement that he said through this entire thing.
Yeah. So do you think? Go ahead.
I had to rewind it twice to make, and I wrote it down as he was saying it. I'll send you the link, Drew. It's Yahoo Finance, the interview. And when he said that, I did Scooby-Doo. I went, and I was shocked because there's a ton of things. I mean, he was very ambiguous, but those were the direct words that were stated. And I just went,
So does this drive? Do you think this drives the pricing up more when this happens, or does it maintain, or does it bring it down?
I know it moves the profitability into there. I mean,
right. Well, obviously they're going to make a lot more money, but as far as, so for us as buying, that's what I'm, do you think that increases just the price overall on the product, or does it maintain, or do you think it drops it?
Golly. I mean, there's so many ways you can answer that. I think it moves the
I mean, obviously they're going to make more money. They're in the
I don't know. I don't even want to speculate. Who knows?
No, I know. I mean,
it could do both. It could keep
that's
it.
What's just crazy.
It could change it. It could lower the prices on products like opening day that are in Heritage, and you could see another explosion on the high end, because you could see Topps doing. No, I'm not going to say it. They're doing something that Panini does that I absolutely like. You've got to be kidding me. I'm not even going to mention it. I don't want to even mention those two words in the same sentence, but it does allow them now to partner closer with Major League Baseball and teams like I'm trying to think, who was it? like Rex said, it gives him a chance to move closer to the consumer and move closer to the licensing properties,
Right.
and then ball play. I don't know. I don't know. I want to say I don't know.
Now this is a good question Rocco brings up. Thanks for joining the show. But does Topps going public make it a better or stronger company? They're not receiving proceeds from the IPO. Is it an exit strategy for a private equity investor? And that's kind of why in the initial comment I put Topps goes public again. This has happened a couple times, and I don't think it's like a lot of. I think it's better for the. I mean, I think it's good for the hobby because it brings a lot of attention to it. But is it great for the company? I don't know. I mean, it's way too early to tell right now. It depends on what they do with it. If they can implement these new strategies of NFTs, of digital platforms, increasing the Topps Now, increasing product lines and product offerings from different sports and different avenues, whether it be entertainment. I think all of these things together are going to be what decides if it makes it a better or stronger company. I don't think you can tell from right now, obviously, right when it happened. If you bought the stock like I did, right when they announced it shot up like crazy and you can cash out pretty quick, which is what I did. But it'll be interesting to see. I don't know if it necessarily makes them a stronger company. I think it gives them a lot more attention. And I think, like I said, they are an iconic brand in this avenue, in this arena that we're talking about right now. So, yeah, I mean, I think it can help. But I don't know. It could be nothing but an exit strategy for a private equity investor. But I don't know who that would be at this moment.
Yeah,
Rex, I'll put that link in the chat right now for you, bud.
You found it? Okay, I was about to go find it. Okay.
There it is for anyone that would like to check it out. And guys, please, if you have anything that you'd like to ask or anything you'd like to say about Topps or anything in the hobby that is going on this week, please remember to call in and join the show. You can jump on video or just audio. No need to click the camera if you don't want to, but call in and join the show, please. We would love to talk with some of y'all today. But I'm not really. I think it's going to be a little while before you can truly tell if this is going to be great for the company or if this is just like you said. Brian Gray said it. I think, and I don't think this will be the last domino, quote unquote, to fall. We said this when we saw. Like the Golden and things like that, and all these sales of these different companies, Nat purchasing PSA. There's a lot of dominoes that are going to fall this year. And I mean, Brian kind of hinted at the next domino when he called Topps going public. And I don't think this is near the end of what we're going to see this year, as it both balloons into the mainstream and is, a lot of different people and people that want to jump into these spaces kind of dive headfirst.
Well, that's the question. Topps was the 800-pound gorilla that I didn't think would fall. Yeah. I didn't think that was it. I thought maybe, I thought Onyx. I thought Leaf. I thought I thought one of them maybe. And Brian has stated over and over and over that he's not selling. Yeah. But I thought a move like that first, not Topps. So if Topps can be sold and Topps could happen, what's the next? I mean, let's move into. I mean, Star Stock. Let's move into that. They keep getting rounds of funding. I mean, is there going to be another or something like that fall? I say fall, but we're talking dominoes. Yeah. What's the next play? I mean, I'm like, it baffled. I didn't think when I read it, I was like,
yeah. Well, like Kevin said, I mean, Kevin, I think there were a lot of factors that contributed to that last time. They did happen to go hand in hand quite a bit. Topps going public in the end of the boom of the 80s. I don't think we're anywhere near that right now. But Troy brings up what's up, Troy? He brings up a great point. Star Stock ComC merge. Now that is a wonderful segue, as number 2 on my calendar was Star Stock and ComC. So we'll talk about those for just Yeah, thanks, Troy. So obviously they were heavily in the news this week as well. StarStock, like you said, getting another round of funding. ComC jumping in and raising, I guess. I don't use ComC, full disclosure. I don't use it that much. I used to when I was rainbow collecting. I would buy from there religiously because I could find all these obscure parallels, the cards nobody was chasing. And it was great for that. But I was a pretty big user of StarStock. I have since stopped since they've altered their strategy and they pretty much rendered B cards pointless. But this is interesting because you see like ComC, StarStock going huge and getting all of this funding. But again, I keep harping back to this. It seems like every single week, it still doesn't seem like the infrastructure is there. Like I'm hoping with this money that they put something together that can actually process orders and get stuff out, because you turn a lot of people off with that stuff.
Yeah, I was actually having a conversation about I'm starting to put together and writing a deal about starting a company in the industry right now. Mm-hmm. And how do you start from because traditionally everybody says start small, start slow, and grow. Well, in our industry, you can't do that.
No,
because you have to expect huge growth like that. And nobody outside of our industry understands or even thinks about that type of growth. It just doesn't happen anywhere else in normal business. So they and this is my point is ComC, StarStock, HGA, all of them started up. They went throughout their process, the normal process of building a business, and then all of a sudden they got noticed, and everybody went, right. And nobody thought past C or D or E or F. Nobody had an F to Z plan. So how do you plan for that F to Z before you even jump in? And it's when they
just stopped. They put everything on hold. Don't take anything in anymore. Yeah. Jump the fee, more fees.
Yeah. And that kills your PR. That kills all of that initial growth everybody told me I was absolutely nuts when starting this conversation, and I'm going, but that's what's happening. And now StarStock, ComC, HGA, and I'm picking on those three because they're the most notable right now. Stopped. Even PSA stopped. And what did it do? It hurt their reputation.
So do you think, back to Troy's initial comment, do you think we could ever see it, something like a StarStock and a ComC merge? Now, I'm not relatively familiar with each company enough to answer that with a lot of confidence. But when you see these companies growing like that, they do seem like they could work well together, and maybe together they could implement those F through Z things you're talking about. But I don't know. StarStock's always been interesting to me because like I said, I used them for a while. They had a wonderful platform where you could send in lower end stuff and really trade it like a stock and move it significantly. And then, like you said, definitely jump the fees. They take the entire B and C market and delete it. They remove it and make it impossible to use unless you already have the stuff in there. And so, like you were talking about, Brad, like that completely slows down. For one, it stopped me wanting to send more. I had a massive box ready that now I've just got a price to get rid of somehow, but I'm not sending it there because the processing's months, the fees have astronomically jumped. It doesn't make sense anymore. And so they had a really good area outside of the A market because, for those who don't know, they rank their cards A, B, and C. And then if they're graded. And so the A market, was pretty high, but the B, like the B cards, ones that would probably grade an 8 or a 9, those were the ones that were flying. And you would see the trends with performance, and it was acting like they wanted to be a stock market for cards. So you didn't have to wait to get it, and you could play off the big games. But then you throw all those fees in there, it completely pushes anyone that hasn't sent before away from wanting to use it. And it pushes people that already have thousands of cards in their account like me. It renders them almost pointless. And it just like send me my stuff back.
Right. Yeah. And after Brian Gray called, he's called a merger. He has called a merger on this show. So when you asked, do you expect there to be a merger? Yeah. I first said no. But tops, I mean, now anything's possible. Anything. I mean, that's not out of the realm for something like that to happen, where you have a Star Stock. Here's one that I'll throw out there that I had. What about PSA acquiring HGA's technology, or PSA acquiring somebody else who's a smaller niche, or them growing their database for expansion? You know, their back-end SQL. I mean, there's a lot of pieces that could move. That, I mean, I cannot stress it more and give him credit for, because I thought I didn't think about it, and when he called it, I'm like, good grief. So I'm
out. Was that part of the notes that you had? That little thing?
Why are you making fun of my notes, man?
Story time.
Right, so Rex said, and Rex, I do agree with you. I think there is a lot of room for niche businesses within the industry.
Yeah.
We're not saying there's not. I don't think anyone was. And good luck with that platform as well. I'll be interested to see what it is. And I think you're right. I think if you can fill a need, that's fine. But I think what Brad was saying is very, very true, that when you launch that, expect to see a lot of people jump at it. If it's something that appeals to people and it's something that a couple people can get on board with, expect it to balloon, because I think we've seen every company in this hobby, even ones that may try and be a small niche business, it ends up pulling in just an astronomical amount of people.
Yeah, good luck, Rex. Good luck. I hope that kicks off for you. I really do. It's a good dude. It's a good dude.
Absolutely.
Very cool.
So, guys, please call in and join the show. We would love to have you guys come on and join us today on the air. Put the link in the chat. It's right up on the screen. But, yeah, so do either have, with everything that happened with Star Stock and ComC this week, has it changed? Do either of you guys use the platforms? Has it changed anything? Is it, does it change your mind on submitting anywhere? How does that affect you guys?
I personally don't use either
right.
of the platforms. So for me, it's whatever, but it's just like everything like we just discussed, and the ballooning and everything else.
Yeah.
And, just always be prepared. You guys always need to be prepared for change, and you got to be prepared for price hikes and this and that. And who knows when we're going to see things, or if we ever will see things mellow out or slow down or drop a little. I mean, I think it's going to be a constant, I don't know. I don't see any kind of, some people are saying there's going to be another, drop, or like the old junk wax saying, I don't see it. I don't think so. I think I'd say there's no way that happens right now. So
yeah, I agree that there's going to be a correction, and we said, I'm interested to see what the I guess it was 14 or 15 Jordans that are going up for auction. I think it's this week. It'll be interesting to see with that many Jordans, what the Jordan market changes or corrects into. Right. But I think that's going to be more your norm is a small slowdown, but not like, I just don't see it. I don't see, there's too much happening, and there's too much expansion. We're too much of a global company or a global world now than we were back in the 90s. We didn't have eBay. We didn't have the 24-hour news cycle. I didn't have the ability to sell cards into Korea or even do trades into Korea.
Right.
Have that capability back then. Could you imagine trying to do that on AOL or on
Yeah.
on some of those platforms back then? It would have taken a month and a half to be able to send that stuff.
Right.
So,
Well, we do have a caller now, so we're going to pull him in. We've got Rocco joining the show. How's it going, Rocco?
Morning.
Hello, guys. It's great to be here with you. It's a pleasure. It's exciting
We do have a
times.
caller now, so we're going to pull him in. We got Rocco. We got some feedback, it seems, on your end.
Hello, guys. It's great to be here with you.
Just a second.
It's a pleasure. It's exciting times.
We do have a little feedback from Rocco. Rocco, if you could mute, I think you got the volume on the computer, I do believe.
Yeah, maybe two things opened. So just
I believe we've got two things open there. Give him just a moment and we'll pull him back in just a second. See if that works. But
that's actually.
Hey, Rocco, two things open. Think you got your computer open as well with the volume on. Put your YouTube on mute. In just a second. See if that works. But
that's actually.
Hey, Rocco. All right, so we'll let him get that on and get that back on.
We keep hearing, "Hey, Rocco."
No, I keep hearing myself twice. So, Jim kind of brings something up in the comments talking about, we're seeing a lot of big shows coming up right now. You've got Dallas, you've got TriStar, and now you've got this new Wisconsin show that's making the rounds. We kind of touched on it a little bit last week, but what do you guys think? It comes back to the national, all this stuff happening around the national. Obviously you have the YouTube, you have a lot of events in Chicago possibly not happening. Do you guys see some of these shows really starting to take off as a lot of vendors kind of look elsewhere and kind of make post-national preparations, even though there hasn't really been a major announcement yet, but it kind of looks like there might be?
Yeah, Jeff, go ahead and start off, Jeff.
What's that?
Go ahead and start off. I actually had a question because what do you do with Chicago now? I mean, and I was talking to, I can't remember who I was talking to the other day. We were talking about, do we make plans for Chicago now? And at some point, if you haven't booked your flight, flights are going to be astronomically impossible to pay for. Yeah. Yes, there's Airbnb and there's all these different options that you could use for hotels and whatnot. Okay, so you can still stay there. You can bunk with somebody, or you could do that. But how are you going to get there? How are you going to get there? Because it's going to get too expensive.
I mean, it sounds like there is some good news out of Illinois, as 1 Million Cubs Project points out. It looks like there might be a summer reopening. So, I mean, obviously we all hope there's, holding out hope. But like you said, you've got to make those travel plans, and you've got to make them soon. And how long do you hold off? How long do you wait before you just say, okay, I'll go elsewhere, circle around next year? And do you even feel comfortable? There's so many different questions.
And I think touching on, like you said, in Jim's, question about all these different big shows, popping off. Yeah, I mean, I think if it were me personally, I would probably be, if there is one of these bigger shows or shows close enough, trying to hit those and just hope for the best. And if Chicago happens, it happens. But yeah, you have to, just like anything, you got to plan ahead. If you don't, it's going to be too late. So.
Yeah. And like Rich says, what's the format going to be? What's the layout going to be? What's the draw going to be that's really going to pull people in? Are they going to have a massive breakers area where you're going to have an insane amount of people close together, autograph line, so many different things to look at.
Will there be autographs, right?
Yeah. And Kevin says he's going to the Dallas show. We will be, like Rich says, we will be at the Dallas show with a lot of us live. So definitely stop by if you guys are going to that show. It'll be a lot of fun. I know we're going to be setting up at Mr. Klein's booth, and we'll be doing a show from there while we are down there. But
I can't wait.
I think a lot of these shows, and I've been saying it for quite a while now, I would love to see big shows hit different areas of the country that people really want to be chasing after, that people from out of town want to go to. And you're seeing that a lot. These Dallas shows have just blown up. Even our show here in Hickory, like right outside in Hickory, used to be one of the smallest shows around. It's now one of the biggest in the state. I think you're going to see the people that really want to push this forward. I think some of these shows are going to end up becoming staples, a lot like the National is. And I think that's something that's going to be huge to keep the hobby really moving forward right now, is giving people in other areas of the country access to these shows that might not want to go to Chicago or wherever it is, or might not be able to.
Yeah, just can't afford to travel, right? Can't afford to go far. So something that's within driving distance, it's, an hour, a couple hours away or whatever, versus having to fly out somewhere and stay somewhere and whatever else. So, yeah.
Yeah, you could always rent a U-Haul truck, and but with everything that you buy, you could bring it back. If you wanted to buy out Rich's booth, and then take it back with you.
There you go. Absolutely. And like Charles says, please make a big show in Phoenix. Like that's it. You could get these big shows in different areas. And I think now is the time to start pushing it. And I love to see these big shows pop up. I know that other Wisconsin show. Absolutely, Matt. I know we're seeing tons of different shows pop up. This new Wisconsin one seems to be getting a lot of ground. It looks like a pretty cool area that it's at. Dallas, TriStar, everything. I think it's great for the hobby. I love seeing it happen, and I love seeing it catch on. I like seeing people that I would get used to seeing once a year, maybe at the National, wanting to go to Dallas, wanting to go down to Florida. I know the Super Bowl show outside of Florida was huge this year. There's a lot of big shows in different regional areas that are growing at an astronomical rate, and I think it's awesome.
Oh, this is such a great idea. Yes. How cool would that be?
Yep.
That would be just awesome. I'd spend a week in Phoenix.
Yeah.
That would be so cool. Spring training in baseball. Oh my God. That's like Nirvana right there.
Now, Rich, that's interesting because that's the South Florida Fairgrounds. That's where I grew up. I grew up 5 minutes from the South Florida Fairgrounds. I know that area well. That is an excellent place to hold a show, and I like to see West Palm finally getting back into some cards. But areas like that, dude, you used to have 10 card shops down in West Palm when I was growing up. Now there might be one or two, maybe a third one's popped up. But I would love to see things like that. And Kevin, that baseball spring training around that is a wonderful idea. And those are the things I'm talking about. These different area shows.
Vegas.
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 I would go to awesome. Vegas. They do all the other conventions or have,
yeah.
The industry I'm in, they do a big show every year, like a big vendor show. Yeah. Get the hobby in
and
Vegas.
That's where you see kids. That's where you see, the amount of shows that I've seen videos, kids doing trades, kids doing this and that. That's where you can pull in the people that might be interested, that may not fully understand what they're doing, or maybe they've got some cards in their attic that they want to bring and see if you want to buy, but they end up walking out with 5 new cards and some hobby boxes and they're hooked again. These shows are going to be crucial, I think, as we start to open back up, so to speak, and get, back onto a normal life if we ever can. I think these shows are going to be very, very crucial to that. And I love the attention that they're all getting. Like I'm saying, if you put up a show, you might see a couple local guys say, yeah, I'll get a table. I think that Wisconsin show sold out of tables in like a snap. I think there's one in New Jersey that did the exact same thing. It doesn't really matter the area. I think now you're starting to see a lot of people dive in that normally wouldn't. And Vegas is absolutely. That's a plain given. It needs to happen.
Yeah, like do it, Figgy. Get on
exactly.
There.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Everybody that loses, I'm standing right next to the craps tables and watching every high roller. I'm like, dude, down
Yeah.
10 grand. So
Shout out my boy Ron Fig, man. Let's go.
love it, Ron.
that would be awesome. That would be
Yeah.
that would be really cool. Yeah, Albuquerque would even be cool. I mean, the area is fantastic. There's so many different areas of the United States that we could just go to. Think about South Beach, Miami, and Florida, and just think about that. How cool that would be with the food and the experience and music and the nightlife. Think about Seattle. Think about Seattle in springtime. That'd be phenomenal. Or not springtime, but more in the summertime. That would be, that would be really cool. It's just the possibilities of the hobby expanding and just what can be done. Guys, I know there are promoters out there. I know there are promoters that watch this show. It is time to start planning for the second half. Yeah. The hobby is screaming for you to do this. I'm going to look at the camera right now.
Look at him.
The hobby.
Do it. Amped. Let's go. Could you imagine being sleepless in Seattle?
Yes, I want to be sleepless in Seattle. I want to have that sandwich. Now it's the time to start planning. The hobby is ready. The hobby is screaming. The opportunity is ripe. Yeah. Let's go. Let's go.
Yeah. I love it. I love the amp.
Yeah. That's more excitement than I got right now, but I like it. I love it. Yeah. And I mean, but honestly, that's what we need. And Ron, you're officially, apparently, according to Charles, putting together a Vegas show. So I'm looking forward to it. Thanks.
Yeah.
Talk with your guys. He was like a pit boss or something.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting.
Dana White. Dana knows some people in the hobby, I'm sure, that can make something happen.
What, is Card Island coming next? No.
Yeah, right? Card Island. There you go.
I might move there. I have to admit, it does sound appealing now that I said it. But yeah, I don't know. It'll be interesting. I'm hoping for the National, and I like hearing some good news. It would be awesome to see it. What's up, Michael? But the best thing to me has been to see all of these people that look like all of these shows popping up around it and how strong they are. I think it's awesome. I think, right, Kevin? Baseball Card Island. I'm totally down for it. It's called Dana White right now.
Now you're in charge of that.
Oh,
get on it.
There we go. I'm not getting it. I'll be put in charge of something.
So on that note, time to go. No, but yeah, it'll be interesting, to say the least. All right, guys. Well, we are approaching the end of today's show. So thanks, everybody, for tuning in. And Rocco, thank you so much for calling in. Sorry, we did have some feedback issues. Please call in next week. Call in anytime, guys. And remember, you can find these also on Spotify, all of the major platforms in audio format. So please go check it out. And as Rich said earlier in the show, if you are headed to any of those awesome shows and you're going to the Dallas show, we will be setting up right near his booth, I should say, with a lot of the hosts of Hobby Hotline Live. And we would obviously love to meet any of you that we haven't met or see any of you that we already know. We like most of you guys. No. But
keyword most.
Looking at you, Brad. No. But guys, thanks so much. Brad, Jeff, it's always a pleasure. And Rich, everybody in the comments, great to see you guys. And please, it is at Rich's booth. So it's going to be at the booth. Even better. And Rich will probably just pull you and yank you on camera. So be camera ready, whatever that means. But thanks so much, everybody, for watching the show. We will be back next week with a brand new set of 3 hosts. So tune in. See you guys later.
Later, guys.
Have a great day.